What's a little gaslighting between our friends? It's just advertising and it never ends. We say we innovate and get you to collaborate and turn every sale into an instant success. We are the monster. We are the machine. We make the most desirable pistols you've ever seen. We are Staccato. We took the 1911 far. We are the brand that set the bar. We have the quality. We have the rep. You know our name because we are the best. From the peak up to the national stage, we have created the 2011 golden age. Fast shooting, accurate shots, slick action and mounted red dots. Always on target and setting the pace. Staccato guns can't be replaced. We are the monster. We are the machine. We make the most desirable pistols you've ever seen.
Buckle in, boys, because you're about to be absolutely drowned in hype and paid advertisements disguised as reviews for the new Staccato HD guns, the 4 and the 4.5. Now, as you can see from the title, mine is not one of those videos. First, let me begin by saying that I like Staccato's guns, and I generally respect Staccato as a brand. I want to make that very clear and establish that right from the get-go. I feel they've worked really hard to become who they are, and they've earned the right to say that they are the reason why this style of gun, the multi-piece wide-body 1911, is popular today. I've owned a C2, and while I liked it, it wasn't special. I was lukewarm on it from the very first time I shot it. It was always just okay. Middle of the road, good overall, however, not worth the lofty price. Decent, but not a spectacular trigger. Decent, but not spectacular fit. You get the point. So I hope that I've established that I do not hate Staccato. I guess you could call me a passive fan. I like the work that they do. I just don't personally spend the money on their products anymore. So I can't say that I'm a fan because I don't support the brand like a fan would. I think for a factory-produced, mass-produced duty or EDC gun, they're really, really well done, if not at least a little bit overpriced. But I get the hype. I get why there is a whole fanboy section of the community, because they really are good guns, and they are the bar by which many new guns are measured up against because they have established themselves in the market. They've overcome a lot of their growing pains already. They had their serious issues with reliability, mostly coming down to their magazines. They've gotten mostly past that. They've had some quality control issues over the past year or so, but nothing that I don't think any other major brand that pumps out their kind of numbers haven't experienced. I mean, we've all seen that with Glock. Glock has done the same thing. They've had growing pains with each generational leap that they've gone through as well. So that's not unheard of. And I don't look at the brand and go, oh, they're a crappy brand because they had a short period of time where they had malfunctioning handguns or they had unreliable handguns to some degree. Hey, they're not SIG P320s, for God's sake. They're not shooting people while secured at a holster. Anyway, I think that they've done a really good job, but the HD development changes my views on the brand as a whole. And what I've done is I brought out a selection of guns. This one's probably bewildering most of you as to why it's sitting there, but I promise I will get to it at the end. But I brought out a selection of other guns so you can see why I have the opinion of I don't want a Staccato HD. I don't like how disingenuous they have been with their marketing. They make very substantial claims about being innovative when speaking to the new features like the ambidextrous slide lock. And they aren't being vague at all about pioneering some of these things. But they didn't pioneer these new features, not even close. And it's not about them simply not being first to market with them. It's about boldly saying, we did this, instead of just being normal about it and saying, we recognize the popularity others have seen with using an ambidextrous slide lock and accepting lock magazines, and we wanted to add these features that the consumer clearly wants to what we feel is the best gun in this platform. And I feel that would have been a much more honest approach. I think had they recognized that right here, the OA Defense 2311 came out long before them with their ambidextrous slide lock, because you got to realize that's a pretty much, or was a pretty much impossible thing to achieve on this platform, because this is basically a pin running through the swiveling lug underneath the barrel that holds everything in place. So to find a way to separate that and create a lever on the other side, well, nobody had done it in over 100 years. So it is a pretty major achievement. And you can look at polymer striker fire guns and go, I don't see the big deal about having a slide lock on the other side of the gun. With the way these are constructed, it really is a big deal. I think had they just said, hey man, we've seen other brands that have done this and the consumers really love it. We feel we make the best gun of this platform, which they can call it a 2011. Others can't because they own the name. We feel we make the best 2011. And by adding this feature, it just takes our already superior product up a level. And it gives you what you've been asking for. I think that would have been a much better and more genuine approach. So what they did was they copied a couple other kids' homework. The platypus. Is well established as the Glock magazine accepting double stack. And now we have the Fusion Firearms Ermox collaboration XP Pro, which also takes Glock 17 magazines. On top of that, the big features Staccato claims to have pioneered, which again is the right-hand side slide lock lever and the deletion of a grip safety, along with the irons forward optic mounting, were all introduced over a year prior by OA Defense in the 2311. Now, I don't have the irons forward optic plate here on mine because I opted to go with the acro style mounting plate on here, which mine is one of the very first. When they first came out with it, they knew that I had this optic on my gun and I was using a C&H Precision plate that wasn't fit very well. And they reached out and asked if I wanted their new acro P2 mounting plate. And I said, absolutely, send it out, please. So it doesn't have the irons forward segment on there like all the other ones that are provided in the bag. Now, credit where credit is due. All of these guns and a dozen other brands, in fact, do owe a lot to Staccato for the 2011 design that they adopted. Prior to SDI making the multi-component assembly, you had regular 1911s, which I have no single stack plain Jane 1911 sitting around here to show you, unfortunately, as an example, but you know what the hell they are. And then Para Ordnance created the double stack, basically unibody, single frame, the double stack higher capacity magazine accepting 1911 in 45 ACP. And then STI, before they became Staccato, created the 2011 that we all now know and love. A separate grip module, generally made of a different material than the frame and the slide, generally, not always. And then you have the frame, which includes the rails that the grip module bolts onto. And then your third major component is the slide up top. That is what differentiates a 2011 or 2011 style, as in the case of my Bull Armory, from a wide body 1911. So I understand that me bitching about Staccato copying from brands who copied the 2011 platform to begin with is a bit hypocritical. I acknowledge the fact that Staccato created the modern day platform that has become so popular and that so many of us love so much. So, Staccato will say that they're better because they don't use any MEM parts. Okay. The Platypus, the 2311, they don't use any MEM parts either. They're all 100% machined from bar stock material. And on top of that, and over the Staccato, the Platypus is completely hand fit when being made, so they're tighter than the grip on the class pet by the special kid in class. We don't even need to mention the nearly infinite amount of customizable options. And even mine, as full house as it is, nothing was left untouched. At the time, they didn't offer the bull barrel or the prickle grip. Mine's one of the older, more original platypi. But mine has every option that they had at the time. And even mine, maxed out as it is, was still about $500 less than the Staccato HD. This rang in at about $1970, I want to say, with shipping. And the Staccato HD 4 is $2,500 or $26.99 or $29.99 in the three different packages they now offer. The 2311 has no MEM parts. And it was about $800 less than the Staccato HD. And featured the right-hand side slide release first. And they also eliminated the grip safety. There is no grip safety on the 2311. And their optics plates, which they include several for free in the packaging, I believe there were 4 optics plates, are all irons forward. I already explained why mine is not. Because I decided to go with this goofy-ass Steiner MPS. By the way, fuck Steiner, and that's an upcoming video topic. And this gun is damn near perfection. Ugh. On every level. Then Vinny at Monsoon Tactical took it up a few notches for me. And yeah, I couldn't be happier. I absolutely love this gun. It is fantastic. And out of the box, it shot perfectly. It shot reliably. And hey, it uses SIG P320 mags. So again, another hybrid gun, a 2011 type gun that takes non-1911, non-2011 magazines. And they did a very good job at that. And last but not least, the $1,200 or $1,300 or $1,200, depending on which finish you get. Fusion Firearms Ermox XP Pro. No MEM parts, and all hand-fitted by gunsmiths in Florida. Now, you may not know that part. Bob Serva has been very clear to mention that himself, that they are all hand-fitted by his team in Florida. Yes, the parts were machined, and the gun was assembled in Turkey. There's no getting around that. But hand fitted and quality controlled in the USA for less than half the price. And takes Glock 17 mags as well. Oh, and includes 2 optics plates in the box for free, ready to go. So I keep stressing this whole optics mounting thing, right? Well, Staccato has a reputation for charging you king shit money for your gun, and then you get to go shoot it for a while without an optic. While you wait for them to ship you a plate that you paid them an additional $130 for. Fuck that noise. That's insulting. But the HD is marketed as a direct mount. Hallelujah, right? Yeah, not exactly. If you bought it when it got released during SHOT Show, you had to go online to the Staccato website and purchase an adapter. And I believe the adapter was $60. But wait, they did just update everything and change it on their website when they got back from SHOT. Now it shows that the plate is included with the purchase if you buy the gun directly from them on their website with the stated 90 to 120 day wait list. So what happens if you buy it from a local retailer? Do you get the adapter or not? Unclear. I don't know, and I can't answer that for you. We need to step a couple of months into the future to find that out. So anyway, you're back to tolerance stacking because it is not a direct mounting system. So once again, disingenuous. Now, I don't want to say that they're lying or really be too overly harsh on them. I prefer to say disingenuous. Little exaggerations and skirting the truth that won't hurt anyone, but that keep you from questioning them too hard. So for considerably less than the Staccato HD, and you may not like my colorway, I'm Gen X. I grew up with Miami Vice, and I wanted that Miami Vice 80s Miami look. That's what I themed this after. You don't like it? Don't care. It's obvious I'm still very happy with plain Jane black guns and stuff like that. This that costs considerably less is a true direct mount for the optic. I got to choose whether I wanted a square or round trigger guard, whether I wanted a full length or 3/4 length dust cover. I got to choose my type of trigger. I also got to choose the weight of the trigger. I got to choose the style of hammer. I got to choose magwell or no magwell. I got to choose the texturing that was on my frame. Aside from all the crazy colors, and then I got to choose from 4 or 5 different kind of slide options. And now there are more options. Do you want a threaded barrel, not a threaded barrel? Do you want a bull barrel? Do you want a bushing barrel? Do you want a strong, crazy prickle grip? Do you want the more standard grip? All those choices are yours, and for far less than the HD. And having fired this fairly extensively, I'm under 3,000 rounds on it, but putting this up against every 1911/2011 that I've owned and currently own, this is my favorite. It is the best trigger I have ever had, and I have owned custom Wilson Combats, I have owned Les Bears, and I have owned Ed Browns, my last being a Cobra Carry. This is the best trigger I've had, period. It is absolutely ball bearing smooth on the fitment between the slide and the frame. It is wonderful to experience this gun. Shooting it, everything is just fan-friggin-tastic. And the thing is, go out there and look. Nobody is saying that they don't like their platypus. And the people that have reviewed one that don't own it, nobody has said it's not up there in the upper echelon of wide body 1911s or 2011s. Everybody gives this gun credit because it is that fantastic. And yep, I use Glock 17 mags in there. This was the originator. I know there was a brand that came out before Stealth Arms did this and made their Glock magazine fed 1911. It was a failed venture. I don't even know if they ever went to market and sold any guns, to be honest with you. But I know that was just a few years ago. And then there's also the Alpha Foxtrot SS15, which technically, I guess, takes Glock mags, but what they want you to do is use the Shield Arms S15 magazines. Those were made to replace Glock 43X magazines. So can you use a stock polymer Glock 43X magazine in the Alpha Foxtrot S15? I don't know. Somebody that owns one, please feel free to chime in down below and let me know, because I have not invested in that particular gun. As you see, I enjoy many guns in that segment. That one, it just didn't float my boat, and I did have a chance to handle one locally, and it just didn't really do it for me. Now, as I mentioned early on, you must be thinking, how weird is it that I have an Archon Type B sitting out here? There's a reason for that. When I bought the original Archon, the very first one that came out, I guess it was 2018, and I discussed all this in my Archon reviews, I've never truly hated a gun, except for the original Smith & Wesson Sigma. I hated that gun. The trigger was the worst thing I had ever experienced, again, outside of the Smith & Wesson Sigma. And I didn't enjoy it. There were things I liked about it, but not enough as a whole to get past that trigger and to get past the way that it shot. Fast forward, the Gen 2 comes out. They changed a couple of little things that I liked the idea of. And then I remembered I really liked the ergos on that gun. And maybe they made some changes that'll make a difference for me. So I bought this, and slowly it has become my absolute favorite, hands down gun of every gun I own, and out of almost every gun I have ever owned. And that's coming real close to the P7 M8. That's coming real close to the Walther P5 Compact. That's coming real close to some really, really heavy hitters. I love everything about this gun. And sure, it's not as popular as a Glock or a SIG or a Beretta. It's not a household name, and I don't care. I absolutely love everything about it. I wouldn't change anything on it. And I haven't, aside from adding the optic. That's it. So this is why I say this to Staccato, should anybody at Staccato be watching, which I would think that they are, because they just released a brand new product and they're looking for anybody that's talking about the HD. I know every time I release a new knife, I want to hear feedback from people on what they think of it. So I go straight to YouTube and I type it in, see if people are enjoying it. So if anybody from Staccato is watching this, send me out an HD4 or whenever the 4.5 comes out. Let me review it. Let me shoot it. Let me give my honest opinion and feedback on it, because I've established I don't hate your brand. I have nothing against you guys. I'm just not crazy about the marketing. And I'm just not crazy about the fact that you guys are monsters. You're such a huge presence in the industry that we're going to see about 85 reviews on the HDs in the coming weeks. And nobody's going to know what they can trust or not, because most of them are going to be people that want to get that gun for free or at the substantial discount, or just don't want to piss off a monster like Staccato that prevents them from reviewing them in the future. I don't have any of that. I'm genuinely curious about the HD and I want to shoot it. Just like this, I knew I hated this gun, and now I'm happy to swallow my words and say this is my absolute favorite gun, period, bar none. And there's even guns sitting right here that cost a hell of a lot more money and are much harder to get. Specifically that one right there. And I like this more. So I'm an honest person. And I have no problem saying I'm wrong. So if you want somebody that's going to give an honest opinion about that gun, and if you have so much confidence in your product that you go, I know if this guy shot our gun, that it would change his mind. That he would be out there singing the praises of Staccato, and in particular the HD, because we did that damn good of a job of it. And he can compare it against the other guns in its exact same weight class. So come at me, Staccato. Let's see what we can do. To everybody else watching, thank you as always. I really do appreciate it. I realize for more of a rambling video, this took a good long time. I could have done a full review in the 25 to 28 minutes that this video is going to be. But I hope you will understand where I'm coming from on this. That, yeah, I think it is a damn good-looking gun. It is a cool gun. And one thing I forgot to praise them for, which I really need to, is the fact that they brought back, again, they're calling it innovation. It's not. Colt did it decades ago. The Series 80 drop protection. Because I'm going to tell you right now, by deleting the grip safety, it makes carrying any cocked and locked gun just a little bit more sketchy. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. And that's why I carry my 2311 less than I carry my Platypus, my EDC Pro, and even that heavy bitch right there is getting more holster time. I love this gun, and Vinny did amazing stuff with it. But God forbid I ever end up in a situation where that gun goes down. I really don't want it to go off. None of these are drop safe. None of yours at home are drop safe. That's just the way it is. Staccato did bring that to the forefront right here, right now in 2025, and that is an enormous deal. And I hope it affects the entire industry, and I hope everybody does the same thing. Because the trick is when you go Series 80, you lose crispness in the trigger. It can add a little additional weight to the trigger, and it keeps it from being an adjustable trigger. So for all these years, Staccato included, nobody was going to venture into Series 80 because they wanted to have that trigger. Well, now we've got that trigger, and now we've got to think in the back of our minds, man, anything can happen. That gun can come out. If I get jumped, I didn't see it coming, I'm in a fist fight, I'm not quite at the level where I am justified in pulling a firearm, and that thing falls out of the damn holster. Or, and I don't know if this is a thing, but it runs through my mind, there's a certain paranoia, just like I don't like driving over bridges. We'll get to that at some other point. What if you get in a severe enough car wreck and there is a hard enough impact on you and you're carrying that gun appendix? Do you now have to worry about blowing your balls off on top of trying to live through the car wreck? I don't know. Is that a real thing? I really don't know. But to know they made it drop safe makes me feel a hell of a lot better. And it makes me want to own that gun. I just can't get past the disingenuous nature of all the marketing. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Thank you guys for joining me as always. It was a pleasure sitting here with you. Please come back soon. I have lots more videos, lots more reviews coming up soon, as well as I'm launching a whole new series, which is going to be called A Week in the Waistband, where I'm going to pick one gun and just carry it for a solid week and then come back and tell you what my experiences were, not jumping from gun to gun as I often do, or jumping from series of guns to series of guns, but having the same exact gun on every day and what you can expect truly living with a gun. And that's the difference between, say, a car review and a long-term car review, and why we have different values for each. Sure, I want to know all about the cool stuff that that car can do, but I want to know what it's like to live with. Can I take my groceries home in it? Is it too harsh of a ride to go over rough roads? Is it going to suck going over speed bumps? Is it going to corner like shit when the roads get wet? I want to know all these little nuances in daily life, and I want to bring that into my gun reviews. So that is a whole new series of videos I'll be coming out with soon. Please let me know if that's something that you would enjoy. Well, whether you do or not, I'm still going to do them. We'll see what happens. Thanks, guys. I'll see you on the next video.